So today is March 1st. Today is the first day of Women's History Month. Women's History Month. And thanks, Odell Lucas. I see you're joining in, and you guys on Facebook as well, because this call is not just for the women. Even though we're celebrating women this month for the next 31 days, we want to invite all the guys to be part of that celebration as well. If you guys see, I'm wearing my Rosie the Riveter shirt. Just all about women's celebration. This month, we want to celebrate. We want to inform. We want to empower. So when I was preparing for this call, and this broadcast today, I remembered a time, probably about 17 years ago. This is when I first started doing workshops and women empowerment retreats. Good morning, Marshall Montgomery. And I remember after a workshop, a woman came up to me, and this was someone who participated in the workshop, and she had been following me and read a local write-up one of the local papers had did on me. And she came up to me and she called me the F word. That was the first time I'd ever been called the F word. And no, it's not the F word you're thinking about, but my reaction, you would have thought it was. She called me a feminist. And I was kind of taken aback because I was at that time in my late 20s, and my beliefs or thoughts of what a feminist is had nothing to do with what I thought I was. You know, and most of that's because what society had taught me at that time, had portrayed feminists to be. But I looked at myself and I had the question. I said, I'm not a feminist. I thought that to myself. I said, you know, I like men. You know, I like to empower men. Despite being a tomboy as a child, you know, and knowing how to change my oil in the car, taught by my mother to do that, I had reached a point in my life where I like to girl it up. So someone calling me a feminist, for me at that time, was like an insult. But once I let those emotions kind of settle down and decided to kind of research it myself, I realized, you know, I am a feminist, and feminist is not a dirty word. So I went and looked up just what a feminist is. What does it mean? And so the definitions I found was the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men. Okay, that's something I advocate for. And the organized activity on behalf of women's rights and interests. This woman had attended the workshop. This was a workshop geared toward women. So with those two definitions in mind, I had to accept the fact and embrace the fact that, okay, that I guess I could consider myself a feminist. And more so, women aren't the only ones who could be feminists. If you're a man who advocates for the rights of women on the grounds of political and social equality to men and economic equality to men, as well as advocating for the rights of women, you should consider yourself a feminist as well. So my beliefs about feminists before that encounter was basically distorted. They based on all the negative connotations, the associations that society had taught me about what feminism was. So I had to challenge myself. And over the many years, I've advocated for women as patients, as seminar participants, as friends, as family, as coaching clients. By far, the majority of women are just like you and me. They're women who are going, you know, to just living their lives every day. These aren't women with one foot off the ledge, ready to end it all. These are women just like you and me, going about their day-to-day routines, but somewhere along the line, they either lost their way or never connected with their way. And they've reached a point in their life. And this is, I think, the beauty about getting older, too. I know now that I'm 44, and people used to tell me this years ago. I know it's like a point in your life that you want to advocate for yourself. You found the courage and you found the strength and to just advocate for yourself and empower yourselves. And so this is what this month is all about, Women's History Month, just empowering each other. But so many of us are still tethered to the limitations that we had imposed upon us, you know, simply because we were female. Think of the messages that you were told directly, or you learned by even observing the other women in your family. Were you told to be, and I've had women tell me this, even recently in my coaching group, you know, they were really encouraged to be reserved or non-asserting, or what's the term, ladylike, or self-sacrificing, or even martyr-like. It's funny, I read someone's post yesterday, and it was saying, stop being a martyr. Martyrs don't live long. But a lot of these just characteristics that society have imposed upon women that we should be, a lot of us took those on. You know, we're self-sacrificing to a fault. We've lost our voices to a fault. And those characteristics that people deem to be ladylike or women-like, if they didn't naturally come to you, and it didn't, come easy for you to portray those characteristics, a lot of times you were shamed, a lot of times you were ridiculed, or for some women even attacked for not being more ladylike, not being more of those traditional characteristics of a woman. So today and I see those hearts coming on Periscopes, because I know a lot of you guys can relate to this. And this is what this call is all about today. Just really sharing with you some things you can do to empower yourself, not just this month, but for the rest of your life, to really get in touch and connect with the true essence of you, because womanhood comes in all different shades, shapes, sizes, personality types, all of that, and we have to embrace it. So 5 things I want to share with you this morning that you can do to honor yourself, to advocate for yourself, to let that just beauty of womanhood shine through. Number 1 is honor your voice. Speak your truth without apologizing. Speak your truth. Be able to say no without an explanation. How many times, and we've all been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it too. If you tell a person no, we feel this necessity to give an explanation behind it. But it's interesting that men don't feel that way. Men will say no, and that's it. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things I've learned from my husband over the last 5 years, is being able to say no without trying to soften the no or offer explanations or apologies for it. So honor your voice. We have a voice. Again, a lot of times women growing up, we were told to kind of sit, look cute, don't be too assertive. A lot of us were told that. And we have to just really, that's not being you. If you have a voice, if you have something to say it, honor your voice. Number 2, be unapologetically you. Unapologetically you. Like I said, women, we come in all shapes, sizes, personality types. Now, there are women personality types, and this is one of the things I talk about in a lot of my seminars. There are 4 different personality types. Now, there's that traditional personality type that I think a lot of people equate to women, that both men and women can have those characteristics of being very nurturing, caring, someone to give the shirt off their back for individuals, and it's nothing wrong with that personality type. But all women don't fall in that personality type. There are a lot of women who just comes natural. They have more characteristics that we associate with men. They're more assertive. They're more maybe progressive. They're more aggressive. We can use that word too. Doesn't make it good or bad for either one, but be unapologetically you. Good morning, Mr. Chase over at 97.9. Good to see you. But we want to, and 92.3 as well, but we want to just definitely be unapologetically us. We have to learn to not apologize for what comes natural to us, because it's so necessary for us to live a life in accordance to our personality type and our nature. So if your nature doesn't fit the prescribed, characteristics that society or your family or your community or your culture told you women are supposed to sit in, don't try to force yourself. Don't try to force a square peg into a round hole, because you'll live a life unfulfilled and unhappy. And I see someone saying, Nurse 313, that's going to be her mantra today. Make it your mantra for the rest of your life. Be unapologetically you. Number 3, resist the tendency to blend in and adhere to a definition of womanhood that does not resonate with you. If you find yourself, and this is so important, guys, if you find yourself surrounded with women you have to play yourself down to, or you can't open up to and be unapologetically you, it's time to find a new circle. I oftentimes hear women talk about how they have to play themselves down, not celebrate their accomplishments, really minimize just the power within them so they don't make other people feel uncomfortable. That keeps us all from growing when we do that. No one grows. No one becomes stronger, better, more empowered if we're all playing ourselves down. Get out there and shine. I tell my coaching clients this too. I say, you guys are going to learn to be comfortable in the spotlight. It's okay to be in the spotlight and to let your talents, your gifts, and your aptitudes shine. Number 4, early in the morning, but this is important. Own your sexuality. Own your sexuality and dispel the shaming messages that society have given us as it relates to womanhood and their sexuality. I was on a thread last night. It's interesting. And people were talking about just how often so many women are turning to men. We won't name any particular names, but men, notable men in our society who are now giving relationship advice to women. You know, no shade to them. I'm happy for everybody who's able to do that, and I'm sure lots of people get things from them. But a lot of these, even when I've heard some of these relationship advice, they come from the area of that women's sexuality is something not necessarily to be celebrated, but to be used as a manipulation. As if we can't have a sexual experience without it being based on manipulation, or without it being based on us wanting to just have this emotional connection to a person. We are sexual beings, and not just for procreation. I got 4 kids already and not trying to have any more, but trust me, I enjoy being a sexual being and will be a sexual being for the next hopefully 50 years of my life or longer, until the day I die. That'd be a good way to exit the world too, if I must say. But I digress. And lastly, guys, I want you to mentor. We all stand on the shoulders of women that came before us. You know, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, our ancestors. You know, I think about the fact that I'm named after my grandmother, Rosie Fox, and my grandmother wasn't allowed to go to school ever a day in her life. I remember going to the grocery stores with her as a kid, having to read the grocery sales paper so I can tell her what the items were, so I can read the prices of the items. She wasn't allowed to have a voice. She wasn't allowed to be the best that she could be, even with those barriers in her way, she became a dynamic woman. But I owe it to her. I owe it to my great-grandmother, Lovey Moulton Westmoreland, who lived to 107 years old. I owe it to these women who weren't able to have a voice, who weren't able to necessarily even get out of bad relationships because they didn't have any economic freedom. And I know Kaylin from Safe Sisters Acquiring Financial Empowerment can appreciate that. I owe it to, and we all owe it to, all of these ancestors who just paved the way for us and who was self-sacrificing and didn't have the opportunities we have today. And the way we pay them back is by these 4 steps I talked about. Owning your sexuality, don't play yourself down for other people, be unapologetically you, and honoring your voice. But we also owe it back to give back to the younger generations, to mentor these younger generations, to show them what womanhood is all about. Because I tell you, all these housewife shows and all these shows on social media, they're not doing it for them. They're not doing it. We have to do it for them. And trust me, if you can touch one life, you've actually touched 100 lives, because these people are going to just really resonate and put all that goodness out to the people around them as well. So guys, in closing, I want to just share, feminism is not a dirty word. And feminism does not mean anti-men any more than Black Lives Matter means anti-white. We all can celebrate these next 31 days in Women's History Month. And it doesn't mean that we exclude men. And men, I know several of you are on this broadcast right now and on the call on the phone as well. We need you to be part of this celebration and empowerment of women as well. So we want you guys to join in the celebration of womanhood, to inform, to educate, to empower, to celebrate ourselves this month. And I challenge everyone listening to make this a month, make it a lifetime. But since it's Women's History Month, we're going to focus, and I'm going to challenge you this month to celebrate the women in your lives. And these can be any woman. They could be the women directly in your life. It could be the women that came before us, but we want to flood social media with images of positive women, images of women who are celebrating and are showing a great example of what womanhood is. So I challenge you guys, if you're not part of my In Full Bloom with Dr. Rose group on Facebook, join it, because I'm going to be just celebrating womanhood all month, and we're going to have giveaways, we're going to have contests and things of that sort to really just celebrate this and just get this momentum going to empower ourselves. So guys, get out there. We can do it together. We can do it together, because everyone can live this life in full bloom, men and women, but we have to empower and celebrate each other. We have to. And I see my friend from Quebec says merci, and Darian, beaucoup to you. So follow me guys on Facebook, Twitter, join my In Full Bloom page on Facebook, and I encourage all of you to just be part of this celebration this month. And all of you, my lovely, beautiful ladies out there, stand up and assume your rightful place. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.